Hello, what's up, everyone? This is attorney Chloe Corbett, aka the Duchess of Justice. I am one half of the Defiant Lawyers, and I am going to be talking about this lawsuit that was filed by Cassie against P. Diddy and then settled the very next day. What does that mean? Does it mean Diddy is guilty? Stay tuned right after this. Hey guys, welcome back. Again, this is Chloe Corbett, aka the Duchess of Justice. I know it's been a little while since I've done a solo video, but I decided that this lawsuit filed by singer Cassie against music mogul P. Diddy was the right video to come back to. I do want to give a spoiler warning and a graphic warning up front that the accusations that Cassie made against Diddy are extremely graphic and sexual in nature. So if you believe that this content may bother you, then I just wanted to give that warning. So Cassie, her full name is Cassandra Ventura. She is a singer. She's been in the business for a number of years, over a decade. She was signed to P. Diddy's label Bad Boy Records. He was her mentor, and then she got into a relationship with him, and they were together for a very long time, almost 13 years, I believe. Anyway, she filed a federal lawsuit against P. Diddy in federal court in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. And she made some extremely troubling, graphic allegations against him, including sexual assault. So I want to go through and briefly analyze that lawsuit, talk about the settlement that occurred reportedly the next day, and talk about what this could mean for just the music and entertainment industry in general. So let's get into it. The first part of this complaint has allegations against defendant Sean Combs, against Bad Boy Entertainment, against Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises LLC, and Doe Corporations. So this lawsuit was filed not only personally against P. Diddy, but also against his record label, Bad Boy Entertainment, and the record label that owns Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises LLC. So she filed this against several entities. For those of you all who don't know, P. Diddy, his government name is Sean Combs, is a rapper and a record executive, popularly known by his stage names Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. He came to fame in the early 1990s for his record label Bad Boy Records, and there were a number of artists under this record label that have been very popular in music culture and pop culture for decades and decades now. According to Cassie's complaint, she met P. Diddy in 2005 when she was only 19 years old and he was 37 years old. She alleges that he signed her to his label Bad Boy Records, and within a few years, he lured her, according to her complaint, into a romantic relationship with him that was filled with drugs, graphic sexual escapades, and much more. So some of the allegations that Cassie launched against P. Diddy include the following. And again, this is very graphic in nature. She alleged that P. Diddy raped her in her own home after she tried to leave him. She alleged that he often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on her, resulting in bruises, busted lips, black eyes. She alleges that he blew up someone's car after he learned that this person was interested in Cassie. She alleged that he would force her into sexual acts with male sex workers while filming the encounters. And there's a whole bunch of other allegations as well. She also states in her complaint that the relationship with P. Diddy was prone to his uncontrollable rage, that he would frequently beat her, and that these beatings were witnessed by P. Diddy's staff and employees of Bad Boy record label. She also says that after he would beat her, allegedly, he would then send her gifts following incidents of physical violence, which was a typical behavior of his. So, guys, these are very graphic allegations that she's made against P. Diddy. And again, they were in a relationship, according to her complaint, for over 10 years. And she met him when she was a teenager at 19, and he was almost 40 years old. She also said that the reason why she could not leave is because he controlled every aspect of her life, financially, music wise, that his staff was terrified of him, which is why this was apparently never reported to the police by his staff. And she is seeking injunctive, declaratory, monetary relief against P. Diddy. And we know that according to reports, this case was settled. And I want to highlight this as well. This is a complaint filed by Cassie. These allegations have not been proven true. And again, they're called allegations for a reason, because this is what Cassie, if this case would have gone to trial, would have had to prove at trial by a preponderance of the evidence. So I want to make sure I highlight that, because just because a statement is made in a complaint does not necessarily mean that it's true. But let's go through some of the facts. So according to her complaint, Cassie met Mr. Combs in late 2005 or early 2006 after he first heard Cassie playing in a club, and he expressed interest in signing her to his label. Again, she alleges that she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. She said that within months of them meeting in early February 2006, that Cassie signed a 10-album deal with P. Diddy's record label. That's a long deal. 10 albums. That is a long time. And if you all follow the music industry, you know that sometimes artists do not put out albums within 2, 3, 4, even more years between each other. So this was a very entrenched relationship, according to Cassie. According to her, her first album was released in August 2008, and it debuted number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 200. She includes a purported statement from Mr. Combs when he was speaking with MTV News. I'm going to read it. Quote, "You could hear the nervousness in her voice, and to be honest, I smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was cute to me. To be honest, you got to understand that success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently." So in Cassie's complaint, they're claiming that this was a paternalistic statement by P. Diddy, meaning that he was trying to manipulate her. This is all according to Cassie's complaint. Okay. She alleges that within a year of signing with Bad Boy Records, that Diddy became deeply entrenched in her life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. So she is really painting a picture as if she was under the total control of Diddy, and not just her career, but her personal life as well. She also claims that Diddy positioned himself as a father figure and protector of her. She gives an example where she went out with a bunch of girlfriends and Diddy reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. So again, she is going line by line, giving all of these allegations of how Diddy allegedly asserted control over her life and manipulated her. She said that at a after party in a hotel suite for her 21st birthday, that Diddy pulled her into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. She claims that she did not consent to this unwanted contact and that she immediately ran out of the bathroom and the hotel suite and cried. She said that she told her best friend at the time, but was too scared to tell anyone else. Later in the complaint, she goes into more detail from her perspective of how Diddy maintained total control over her and her finances. She claims that he paid for her many apartments in California, that he would buy her designer clothing, and that all aspects of her life were controlled by either Diddy or his management companies. She claims that every event that she attended, from the travel to the makeup and clothing, was paid for directly by P. Diddy and his affiliated companies. Now, this part is very interesting, as she details alleged violence and abusiveness from Diddy. She alleges that one day his bodyguard came into their room and announced that Suge Knight, a longtime rival of Mr. Combs, was spotted at a diner in Los Angeles. She alleges that Diddy began to get dressed, got multiple guns from a safe, and ran out of his home to where he believed that Suge Knight was dining. She claimed that she was terrified and began to cry. She also alleges that he demanded that she hold his gun in her purse and that she was petrified of it. So again, guys, I encourage you all to read through this complaint with these allegations. There's a lot more that I could go into, but she paints a very terrifying picture of her time, the number of years that she spent with Diddy. Again, I have to highlight this is a complaint. These are her allegations. Nothing has been proven or adjudicated in court by a judge or a jury because this case was settled. But there's no doubt that the picture that she paints is horrendous. So as I detailed before, this case was settled just one day after she filed the lawsuit. She filed it on November 16th. As is usual in the cases of settlements, the settlement agreement is private. And based on the settlement agreements that we've settled in both federal and state court here in Texas, most times settlement terms are strictly confidential, meaning that both sides must agree to maintain confidentiality regarding the settlement, as is the case here. Now, Diddy did release a statement on November 18th. He said, quote, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all of the best. Love." His attorney goes on to say, quote, "Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best." Now, I'm sure one of the things that Diddy did not want to do is go through the discovery process. So discovery is a process where the parties will exchange information, and one party can make requests for all types of information from the other party. So in this case, Cassie could have sent requests to Diddy for his financial information, for his text messages, phone communications, social media communications. She could have tried to subpoena his companies, his record labels, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment, and a whole host of other things to try to get this information. Diddy could do the same as well. She could also notice him to appear for a deposition, which is where he would have had to answer questions from her attorney under oath and answer truthfully. And the reason why depositions can be so deadly and either go in favor of a party or against the party is because, one, again, the person is testifying under oath, even though they're not in a court setting. And two, the attorney asking the person questions can ask questions that are broader than even what the lawsuit is about. In the deposition, we can ask questions that may not be as related to the lawsuit if it's, at least in Texas, reasonably calculated to lead to some type of evidence that would be admissible in court or at trial. So it's a very powerful tool to get the other opposing party under oath and get admissions and concessions that can be used against them if the case were to go to trial. I'm sure that P. Diddy and his attorney had a very in-depth conversations about whether or not Diddy wanted to go through that discovery process, some of the benefits and the cons that could come out of it. And I'm sure that it was a factor in Diddy's decision to settle. Another thing too is if Diddy did not cooperate in the discovery process, then Cassie's attorney could have gone to the federal judge and asked the judge to compel Diddy, to order Diddy to provide the requested documents or to submit to the deposition. And if it was ordered and he still did not do it, then Cassie's attorney could go back to the judge and ask the judge to order Diddy to pay her attorney's fees, to pay fines, even jail time. So it's very serious. And I believe that is a very important thing that was considered in his decision to settle this lawsuit. Also, in my review of her civil suit, it seems that she brought this civil suit under the Adult Survivors Act, which is a New York law that gives victims of sexual abuse who were 18 or older at the time of the alleged abuse a 1-year window to bring cases in New York after the statute of limitations had expired. So it seemed like she brought her lawsuit pursuant to that New York law, which is called the Adult Survivors Law. Cassie also told the Times on November 16th, quote, "It became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life." She mentions the law as well. She says, quote, "Thanks to the passage of the act in New York and California, she is now ready and able to also confront her abuser and to hold him and those who enable his abuse accountable for their actions," end quote. Now, there's another question as to whether or not there will be criminal charges against Diddy for Cassie's allegations. And when the news of this lawsuit first became public, the NYPD did seem like they were investigating these allegations and would bring criminal charges against Diddy. However, they backtracked, and according to a spokesperson from the New York Police Department, no reports of abuse or assault have been filed against Combs in their jurisdiction. And quote, there is no such investigation at present. An earlier statement said, quote, the NYPD always treats allegations of sexual assault and rape extremely seriously and urges anyone who has been a victim to file a police report so that support and services can be offered to survivors and a comprehensive investigation can be conducted. So they seemingly were going to at least investigate Cassie's allegations and potentially bring criminal charges against Diddy, but now they reverse course and they're claiming that no allegations have been filed with them against Diddy. So it remains to be seen whether or not criminal charges will be brought against Diddy, even though the civil suit was seemingly settled as well. Now, Cassie's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, said that, quote, Mr. Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit. She rejected his efforts and decided to give a voice to all women who suffer in silence. Ms. Ventura should be applauded for her bravery, end quote. This statement was given before news of the settlement after she filed. According to this statement, it seems like we can presume, and this often happens, that Cassie's attorney reached out to Diddy and his attorney and said, hey, do you want to settle this lawsuit or we're going to file a lawsuit? That happens with our cases as well. Sometimes the parties can even mediate or have settlement talks before the plaintiff files a lawsuit. It seems like there was some type of discussion and that Diddy offered her, according to her attorney, 8 figures to silence her, but she decided to go ahead and file the lawsuit. And then we know the very next day that some type of settlement was completed. Her lawsuit says that after the settlement, quote, I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for the unwavering support. Thank you all for joining me. I hope that this has been fruitful and you all have learned something. If you have any questions about this lawsuit or just federal lawsuits in general, go ahead and write them below in the comment box. This video is going up the week of Thanksgiving, so I want to wish every single one of you all happiness, love, and joy, and a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and friends and your loved ones. We thank you for each and every one of you for supporting this channel and being a part of the Defiant Lawyers. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.
That Corbin and Corbett legal team fighting for the rights of the people. That father-daughter team investing in the youth when the system ain't treating them equal. Providing truth for our people, we able to reach them. So anytime you get accused for a crime and Lord knows you ain't do it, we here to get you through it. Exemplifying prudence and glorifying God, making sure you're compensated for other people's doings. Our vision is to be one of the best. We're small enough to focus on your matter throughout the neighborhoods of Dallas. Working constantly and making sure your rights are protected. A firm team of lawyers, aggressive, effective. A team that has your back in the courtroom. 2 well-spoken black lawyers in the courtroom. Investing time and resources when it's evident that you were treated wrong. Now you walking out of Dallas courtroom with a settlement. Corbin and Corbett, the father-daughter legal tag team that has your back in the courtroom. Our purpose is simple. To obtain a favorable outcome for each client and glorify Christ in all we do. Our vision is to be one of the best and most